take one of these and pass them around. They didn't print off as nicely as I wanted, same with these. In case, yeah, you guys already have this, but.
Well, I don't know if you made changes with
Yeah.
the ones you gave.
No, it's the same one, okay.
It's different.
Here.
It's got a check in it.
Oh, okay,
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's the one you guys approved.
Approved, all right.
From a napkin.
This is different than the library.
Is it?
We-
It's the one.
that is our adopted budget. That's the budget that the
Oh,
district
okay.
adopted.
Not what's online.
Yep.
What I'm looking at. Oh, okay.
So that's online and Lucy's online.
Yeah,
Lucy is not yet. I'm not sure.
Okay.
I haven't heard from Lucy.
Pat will be online.
Yeah, he's in there now.
Yep.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep.
Dan, I bet.
Okay. All right, just making sure my audio worked. Thank you.
Hola, sí, señor.
You know more of the language than I do at this point.
That doesn't look like Mexico.
No, I don't want to show you the real thing. You'll get jealous. But you'll probably hear a few of the dogs.
Oh, do you have a copy of the agenda? I do.
Just this one.
Oh, I can print out some copies.
I just need one,
So,
please.
sure.
Thank you.
Right.
I'll just go.
Or this time around.
Didn't know who's gonna work and have it up.
Oh, yep, thanks, sir.
Yep.
So you're the winner.
What's that?
You're the winner. Totals.
Oh, yeah.
Don't prepare it.
All right, we're coming in order at 5:30. Thank you everyone for coming tonight. I don't see anybody, we have public comment on here or this? I've cut base.
Yeah, so,
Yeah.
and there's no one in attendance.
Okay, administrative updates.
Any public that wants to come?
There was no public comment.
Okay,
No one online, no one here.
okay.
Yep.
Any questions on the administrative process as far as we're moving through that? It's gonna be, ideally, we had hoped that January 1, we would be a full stop with the city and full forward with the district handling all the accounting. It is gonna take us a little longer to get through that. And that's fine. These are things that happen, but we're committed to working with the city staff to make that happen. And I think it's gonna be with few challenges, and should be pretty easy going.
All right, chief updates.
All right, I had this spreadsheet. It didn't print as nicely as I wanted, but I just wanted to go over a couple things this year, just looking at the data. There was about 16 and 19 hours the volunteers attended in training this year. 76 calls, which 37 are city, 17 was the rural fire district, 22 was mutual aid. We did respond to one state mobilization, 2 days out there in Klickitat this year. And the fire team participated in Spruce Up Stevenson this year. And I think we had a good time making breakfast for everybody with that. As far as myself, I did complete 90 hours of continuing education as a chief. Most of it was incident command training. NIMS 300 and 400. I will complete IMT 3. Is that what I'm doing this winter? So that will allow me to take command of state mobilization calls in the county as well. So I'll do the IMT, and that's something Barb here is hosting locally. So thankfully, all of that, I didn't have to leave the area to do that, which typically happened. Barb at the emergent EOC has had that locally for us that attended.
Right, sorry, real quick, I
Yep.
had to resume the recording. That was my mistake.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
All right.
Ray, can I ask a
Yep.
question about that? Is that IMT for the county or what is that?
So IMT3 is a level of incident command. So typically, let's take the Sand Hill fire, for instance, this year. That didn't go any level than higher than 4. So that was like the DNR was in command of that. When you get to 3, that's state mobilization. That I can be in command, once I complete it, I could be in command of a level 3 incident.
Okay, and the reason I
Yeah.
ask is because we have a IMT3 team already established.
Yeah,
And so I'm just trying to figure out how that works in
Yep.
conjunction with that, because normally those teams are called
Yep.
by state mobile.
yes, exactly. So I wouldn't be part of like, say, those teams that come in once they're
Okay,
in.
that's
Yes,
what
exactly. I wouldn't be part. It's just stuff Barb's doing to get us a lot more training locally, which has been, they've been really good because they go over a lot of really random scenarios.
Training is
Yeah.
very good.
But yes, I'll finish this winter. She was gonna do it in November. She moved it to February. But I will have IMT3 this winter.
Good.
So,
Man,
yep,
Councilmember Cox, I would also note that, and you worked, I know, many, many years with John Carlson
Mhm.
and probably are familiar with his fondness for referencing the big one, the earthquake, when it comes.
Yes.
And the value in Chief Broughton taking these classes is that when that earthquake hits, the IMT team is not going to be here anytime soon. And so he will be an asset not only to the fire service, but to the county
yep,
and the city in general.
And that should be coordinated with the county in regards
Yes.
to
Yep.
all of their emergency responses. to
Yep.
Those
Yes.
kinds of
Yep.
incidents.
yeah, EMS, there's SARS, the sheriff's office, there's a lot of
A lot of components.
there's a lot of good people getting training. Because that's one thing we learned on the Bedoin fire. It was 3 days before, or 2.5 days before State Mob showed up to help out there in Clickitat County.
And
So,
you're gonna find that it's a management team. When we first started it for Southwest Washington, everybody had their, their stars on their shoulders and everything. And there were subordinates in positions above what their boss was. And that didn't set well for the first week.
I
And
believe,
we were finally able to work through that. And so that is something to keep in the back of your mind, that there are those issues that come up every now and then.
oh yeah, I believe it. Nothing like egos to stop moving forward. It's all right. Things I'm working on this year, we're close. The school district is working on the MOU for renting the janitor closet here at the elementary school so we can purchase a washing machine. The fancy name is an extractor there. Sounds like it'll be a couple $100 a month. We'll do a couple nights of helping them clean that out. We'll be able to store some stuff in there, so help clean up some of the fire hall down there. And then also with the new engine too, it's in line. The FEMA grant has been pushed way back because of the government shutdown. They said the earliest it will open up is at the end of December now. Who knows with that? But we'll see what happens with starting to slowly purchase some of the tools or whatever and storing them for that, because estimate's still a couple years out on that. But that's it for me. Does anybody have any questions?
Question on the purchase of your, washer and dryer
Mhm.
system. About how much is that gonna run?
So we're not gonna get a dryer, because the dryers are really expensive. We're just gonna get the washer. We traditionally just hang dry the gear. So the washer is $5,000 to $6,000 delivered.
That, to me, that would, and I don't know about this, I would consider that a capital expense.
Yeah,
And we maybe should take a look at pulling that out of the fire, whatever fund that's called now, is reserve, the reserve.
Yep.
I would suggest that we maybe take a look at that
Me and Ann talked about that and we, probably will do it. I think that's part of this budget.
It is.
The truck, if it gets to purchasing in stuff or like, or the bathroom remodel, which we had talked about possibly down there, that will come in the form of a supplemental. The purchase of that is part of the, didn't we boost it by
We did.
$5,000 or $10,000? Yeah,
In the budget line item, you'll see that, we actually have $50,000 for capital equipment purchases, which would cover the district's extractor purchase, plus, some extra to build their own drying rack system, similar to what Fire District 4 has, which is like, I think they said it was 4,000, 5,000 bucks. And then some unknown capital equipment, because the chief and I, we had a very compressed timeline to get our budget together, but undoubtedly in the fire service, there is the need for capital equipment. I mean, you can't put out a fire or provide fire services without capital equipment. And he's still working really hard on getting, accurate estimations of current capacity.
yep. I do have a bid. It was like, I think it include the taxes, but it was like 5,500. I got it a couple weeks ago from C Western. So they said it was a couple months out. The only thing I'm waiting on is the date to order it of when we can take or start working on that janitor closet, because I don't want to get it and have it sit at the station, move it twice.
Similarly, chief, in your capital budget, there's also the, $50,000 for a remodel of the bathroom.
Yep.
Which is also a capital expense.
Yep. So, and that's one of the things in our meeting with Wes, Dave, Robert, and Ann. They talked about possibly looking at the remodel down there for the bathroom down there. And one thing in just looking at it, if my feeling is if we can get that janitor closet at the elementary school, and hopefully it has a janitor sink in it. That way we can remove the one, possibly if the bathroom remodel comes together, get rid of the janitor sink at the station. So there's a process like when there's a big structure fire, we have to soak and wash, soft wash the masks from it, our SCBAs. So they soak, then they dry. Hopefully we could do all of that in the janitor's closet the few times a year we're on a structure fire instead of doing it all down there at the station. Same with putting up some shelves. So all of our backup gear isn't sitting down there, just sucking up exhaust fumes. It's sitting up there. So team comes back from a fire, they can take their gear off, they can get dressed. We can take it up, leave it at the school. They can get some backup gear off the shelf. Then we go about the next day washing it, right here instead of back and forth. Cascade Locks has been great. They help us wash it all, but it does, it'll cut down on time, and it's a benefit we can share with Fire District 1, because it's one of those things like on a big call, they have their rescue vehicle that airs up all our SCBAs. We don't have one. So it's one of those things that we can share a service. We have the washer, they have the fill up stations, stuff like that. That's my update. Anybody got any questions?
How much was the dryer, just out of curiosity?
So it depends on what you want to go with. The lower ones were $10,000 to $12,000. The higher ones are in the 30 to 40 range, like your natural gas. Most of them, they're a lot of money, and they don't do that much versus just building. Like if you look at the cheap one, like 7,000 to 8,000, all it is a cart with some metal bars that you just hang it to air dry on. Like maybe it keeps your legs separated. So it's one of those things you can build have a welder maybe build themselves for you or something.
How about, is there a way to set up your drying similar to the, football drying room?
Oh, man.
With an overhead, fan the heater?
I don't know. So that'd be something we'd have to ask the school. But we've had realistically, Dave, when we wash our gear, you have to pull it apart, wash the inside, the exterior. And by the time it's less than 12 hours before they're dry, just in a
Oh,
70,
okay.
set in a 70-degree room. It's not too bad.
Okay.
So yeah, it's
Yeah, they don't suck
The-
water up.
The closet you guys are using, the janitor, it's gonna be at the school.
yeah, right here.
And it's the one that, like, yeah, if you're in the gym, you walk out, it's the,
Yeah, it's the one
the deeper
in the
one. It's where they
entryway
keep the
we
net
grew up
and
with
the-
down there.
yeah, they keep the.
Yeah, right there. Yep.
Cause I cleaned the floors and stuff, so I was coaching. And
Yeah.
So that's where they keep all those desk mops
Yep.
and that, yeah, so yeah,
Yep.
okay. That's a
Yeah.
good sized place in there.
Yeah, that's what I figured. We would help them clean it up and
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's not just like a little closet, like.
Yeah.
Good size, yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
I'm glad
Yeah.
there's a space you can use it, that's
Yep.
great.
I just have a couple questions, Chief. I don't know if
Yep.
you're the one to ask. On the interlocal agreement on the next one, I guess, what's the procedure? You guys will vote on it and then we'll vote on it separately at our next meeting or something? Is that how it's gonna work?
we can go over it, Pat. I think tonight we want to go over any questions.
Okay.
The rural district commissioners have had a first and a second reading, so they could vote on it if they choose to tonight. I
Okay.
think you guys, this would be your first official reading, and then you could vote on it at the city council meeting. Is that right? And for them?
Is the rules of, well, this was the agenda that was posted for tonight's meeting. And we did put discussion and potential action. So since the city posted this agenda, I believe, unless your procedures require otherwise, that you could vote on it tonight as well, unless your
Okay.
procedures require a first reading.
Usually the only time we have first and second is for ordinance
Yeah.
stuff, so I don't see reason why.
Yeah, but I believe we can vote on it tonight.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure on this, so but I know so we can get to that when it gets to it, Pat, but when we get to the interlocal, we can go over any of the questions. I think Ann and I, if Dave wanted to talk about it, we could go over kind of the process we had to get to this point.
No, yeah, I just had a couple of questions on it. It looked like a lot of work went into it, and it looked like, as I think you guys have been mentioning, that this new agreement kind of fast tracks what we talked about last year, which is great. I know it looks like a lot of work has been done. But just had a few technical questions on Exhibit A of the new agreement that, it lists the pumper truck. Now, would the new fire truck we've all been talking about, then that would replace that? In other words, will the new fire truck then go under a new Exhibit A at some point? Will it?
Yes,
Like, right?
yes.
Okay.
So if you got new equipment, it would be added to the exhibit as equipment came, if it comes onto the team, let's say.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
so if it's within that new fire truck, what people are envisioning so far, that would remain a city asset or not, or is that farther?
So
down
in
the
this
road?
phase, we're kind of in the dating. This is if we're getting
Okay.
into it, the interlocal, this is like a 3-year plan.
Right, yeah,
In which we could cut shorter if wanted. It's kind of, here's the dating. The marriage would be like, hey, let's get all the equipment into the rural district's name. What's that gonna look like?
okay,
And all of that, but yes, so say in 2027, it's like, hey, let's go ahead and get it towards all the rural district. We don't have the truck yet, then yes, it would be on there. If the command rig and say the station, everything else, it would be a rural district item. But for the time being, Robert and the rural district's attorney said that legally, the city's apparatus has to stay the city's apparatus
okay,
and insured by the city. Same with the rural district. Ours have to stay insured by the rural district. We can't insure the city's engines.
okay. Then the other technical question I have on the cost sharing going forward, there's a 70-30% that's gonna remain in place, and some of it'll be probably different. I mean, when you get into the agreement, some will be the same. When we get those invoices, I know that you guys have always been good. Those will be spelled out as we go, so we'll know. And the reason I ask the question this detail is if we're gonna, in other words, we'll see what changes we're making as we go along in that 70-30 split, because the invoices will be spelled out. So then and probably historically, I know we've seen that as well. So,
Yes, that was, I think we got spanked on that audit, and I don't know if the city did, but we'll have much like you can see it used to be called bars. What are these reports
the
called
bar.
now? Bars reports. And then, but they'll also be the invoices every quarter, because that's what the auditor on us, when the rural district was approving them, they asked, well, why aren't you guys should be seeing those invoices as well? So once a quarter in this agreement, that's one of the things I wanted to make sure you guys, we will still come once a quarter. Our goal will be 1 week before the meeting, get you all the invoices, that bars report, all of that. But you can request, and I'm guessing the year where it's like, hey, we want to get to where the rural district takes it all over, there'll be more than a once a quarter meeting. But for the time being, there'll be I'll come to the meetings, but the mayor or city council can request me to come for more. Yes,
Okay.
and we'll only go to where this meeting is happening only once a year.
Then I just have one more question on the EMS stuff that's in this agreement that wasn't in the old agreement, right? Is that, so this is, am I right on that? This agreement has some EMS stuff in it, right? Can you explain what's happening there?
I didn't see EMS in this
Maybe I
one.
missed it.
In the
Okay.
previous one, the first one that went out before it was edited by the attorneys, it had some EMS language
Okay.
in it, Pat, but I believe all of that was
Yeah, we-
removed. Yeah, we removed that.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, well, I got
Yep,
confused
yep.
on that. Okay, so I
Yep.
stand corrected on that. Okay. And then, and those are my only questions, other than I had one on the number of meetings. It looked like the agenda, we're talking about maybe having 2 meetings next year. And the agreement, I think, mentioned 1, so it doesn't matter to me, but.
Yeah, what?
So,
Oh,
and we did too, just. because
okay.
we thought- I mean, there's nothing that says you can't have more than one.
Yeah. So the agreement says 1, Pat, but on the agenda, it does show a possibility of 2 next year
Okay.
between the fire commissioners and city council.
Yeah, but on the agreement, basically only one would be required.
Yeah.
And then we
Yeah.
could have an additional one if we wanted. Okay, good. Thanks.
Councilmember Rice, I would just note, I'll double check that there's no reference to EMS in this document. If there is at all, it's possibly related to the idea that Fire District 2 on occasion will respond for manpower assists to EMS. And so that could be construed as EMS services, but it is
Okay.
not a service that Fire District students in fire department, they are not a licensed EMS
Yeah,
agency.
that's might have been the area I got confused, and a lot of it's technical, and I'm easily confused. So it's
Okay.
probably, it was just me, because then I was worried. Well, what about if that was a new thing we were getting into, which seemed like a whole new can of worms. So I thought it's probably my brain just overworking stuff. But then it got into liability insurance issues, stuff like that. But we're not going there. So thank you for
No.
that clarification.
Anybody else have questions about the interlocal? So what happened, I'll just go over it really quickly, is Ann's team came up with this. We worked with the commissioners, first saw it, then our legal team, then we met with Dave and Robert. Robert and Dave brought up some really good points. And then the last week before Thanksgiving, it was just Robert and the attorney just getting the last few things. There was like the city has to be, one thing is the city had to, your public records request, you'll always be responsible for your own public records requests. The insurance and liability piece for the equipment you own. Yeah. The meetings, one thing too, was that this one's a 3-year. So let's say we get to 2028, instead of 12 months, it could be a 6 months termination. You could say, hey, we don't like this in February, and the end of August, it would fall off. So other than that, Dave, is there anything else you wanted to bring up?
I just got some, I'd like Ann to go over how the costs break out. Was under payment of services. Just so everybody's on board.
As far as when we,
Regards to the one-time payment and then also the appendix. And
Yep.
all of that.
thank you, sir.
Mm.
So we, there's a couple of different ways that this interlocal agreement addresses costs to the city and how they're reimbursed. So, first and foremost, there's a one-time contract payment of $50,000. That payment is a thank you for, can best be described as a thank you for taking over and handling this fire service for all the work that it is. The district does not have the financial capacity to take on 100% of the costs without preloading some of that money. That $50,000 payment, as the city's legal counsel described it, I believe, is kind of a takes so much
Goodwill.
okay? Secondly, after that, and then of that $50,000, $10,000 is related to expected to be used for administrative costs, $35,000 for operational costs, and $5,000 for equipment. Okay,
And what is the May 31st date for in there?
May 31st is where?
After each line, it says, estimated, project form.
Projected for May 31st, 2026, estimated. and
Oh, I
projected
think you
for-
guys are looking at the wrong agreement.
Oh, this one was loaded online.
Yeah.
Oh, was that?
Yeah.
Payment for services.
Oh, it's projected, so that's what we estimate the cost would be,
Okay,
through May, sorry.
May
Through-
Yeah.
2026.
Okay.
Yeah. okay.
Yes.
Do you need these?
Yeah, buddy, sorry. Been a day. Okay, no. Okay.
Made it worse.
So, anyway, so the $50,000 is a goodwill payment, right? It's an effort to preload the district so that they can support the continued operations of fire service. It's a necessary evil, and it was globally agreed upon at the meeting where we discussed and negotiated this contract, okay? Thereafter, the majority of the costs are split 70-30. 70% of the, for example, 70% of the district's monthly personnel costs, 70% of the annual volunteer response and training costs are billed to the city. It does outline outside of the 70-30 split, there are some costs that are 100% to the city. And there are some costs that will be 100% to the district. That will be broken out when we pay the invoices, and you'll see all of that detail very clearly because we have in our budget city line item codes. And so when we bill you, it's going to be what's in those line item codes. All right. Let me double check that I'm not missing anything.
I think he asked about the back where we break up the funds into different, C, is that appendices C?
Oh, appendix C.
Yeah,
Let's take a peek at that.
we break it up into the line items in the reserve.
Oh, yes. So this is our, so the city is not contributing. Initially, we asked for, as part of the negotiations, the city to contribute money to the Stevenson Fire Department Cumulative Reserve Capital Contingency Fund. The purpose of that fund that the commissioners established by resolution this year, effective in January, is for the district to set aside funds to make purchases of future capital equipment such as SCBA's, turnouts, building improvements, things that the district can't just wave a magic wand and do. They have to save for those things. You put them in a cumulative reserve fund. We wanted the city to contribute towards that. It was not something that we were able to get through in negotiations, and rather instead, the goal will be that each year when the district adopts their budget, it will account for capital expenses that need to be made. The chief, when he comes to report to the council on the budget, and will work with the city administrator to say, we've got this much capital expenses going out. We would like the city to contribute this much money from your fire reserve fund. Is that what it's called?
well, and that was the question that I was gonna be coming up with. Is how this relates to the fire reserve fund, because right now we have that money. And the way that the ordinance was passed, any money that the fire department on the city side does not spend automatically rolls into that, which is all general expense money. And then on top of that, we're also being asked to pay into this as well. And so it almost seems like we're being asked to pay in two separate locations. And so I guess my question is, how is that going to all work?
So didn't we remove this though? The
Yeah, this-
city part of it?
The city is not contributing,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, we struck the top part, Dave. Like, that was part of 5.2, I think, still.
We did strike the part,
Yeah,
but I think still to your question, Dave, excuse me, Councilmember Cox.
You could call me
yeah,
whatever you
Yeah.
want, Ann.
I believe what you're saying is the city is paying for fire suppression services through their general fund.
What we do is we allocate $25,000, and then whatever is left over at the end of the year, fiscal year, that money is also rolled into the fire reserve fund, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
I don't know. Fire reserve fund.
So I think through the budgeting process, the way that you. I want to choose my words wisely here.
Because the only way that we can pull money out of that fund is for capital improvement funds,
And I apologize, I haven't read the ordinance.
for capital equipment.
It would,
Capital equipment or buildings, that type of thing.
it would have, it seems reasonable to me that the ordinance should have been drafted for fire support, fire suppression services, and not have been so restrictive to the point of capital. I am not a city council member. I did not have anything to do with adopting that ordinance. But it seems like maybe it was just a little short-sighted because clearly fire suppression services and the work that the fire district does to support those efforts, it's not always a capital expense,
Sure,
right?
sure.
People are, and administrative and things like that, so,
We may need to take a look at how that ordinance and resolution are worded.
hopefully there's
and-
enough gray area
Yeah,
that you can use it for the operations. I mean, we can clearly show to you expenses for capital, which I think will be easy peasy and
Right.
pass any muster with the auditors.
yeah,
But on the other side,
yeah,
I would-
and the issue is, if we can't use it for operations
Mhm.
per se, then we're going to have to come up with current expense funds, additional current expense funds above and beyond what the fire department is already rolling over from current expense funds into the fire fund.
yes.
So we would have to come up with additional monies, and that whole bailiwick is not ringing very well with me.
And may I ask,
I've got a concern on that.
may I ask the rollover of funds from the general that go
Fire.
from the general to the fire fund,
Yes,
that's based on budget or expense?
correct. It's based on what they are budgeted.
Uh-huh.
If they do not fully utilize their budget,
Uh-huh.
the remainder of that particular budget rolls over into the fire fund. Yes. Which, well.
And I can't speak for the commissioners, and I certainly can't speak to the city's budget, but I can say that the chief and I have worked diligently to put together a budget, and I am comfortable with the amount that we put in the fire district budget of $250,000 estimated for operations in calendar year 26,
Which does not include the city side.
which is the city side. We estimate that it will cost the city $250,000 in operational expense for calendar year 26.
Okay. Is
And
that what this is?
yes, what that number does it,
Because at the top of it shows, Skamania County Fire District 2. And so that's why I was curious if this is your city budget for fire, or if this is combined, or if this is broke out between Fire District 2 and the city.
it's the district's budget. Because the district is the legal entity that has to adopt it. But within that budget, it includes a revenue line item of $250,000 of professional services for fire suppression paid to the district from the city. What is not yet included is a an adjustment to that revenue line item to account for the request from the city to contribute $50,000 for capital. So,
Which is this capital and contingency allocation you're talking about?
no, sir, that
Are you
is
talking about the
Yeah.
original 50,000?
the original 50,000 that we negotiated.
We got rid of the capital contingency piece. That was part of the discussion where it was like, we struck that.
Yeah.
Completely.
So it sounds
Yeah.
like maybe, when I was setting this up online, I used the version that Robert sent me, the most recent version, so it sounds like maybe I didn't get the right version or some change for me, because it sounds like exhibit C shouldn't be in there, or at least the top part, but it's the application, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So at least I can get with Robert to make sure I have the
Yeah.
final version.
So the only part that from when we left that and the attorneys talked about it is the second half of C. That's the district's allocating fund into its reserves specifically assigned to each capital savings account.
But that's not something that necessarily needs to be in this.
No.
Agreement, right?
No.
So.
Yeah,
Just
so-
get rid of C altogether.
It looks like the council's gonna have to take a look at that fire reserve resolution and ordinance. And maybe,
Yeah.
maybe take a look at the gray areas and clean those up. So, which would be fine with me.
And from the city side, again, I can't speak for the commissioners or the chief, but from an accounting perspective, it seems reasonable that the city, from their general fund, would anticipate spending $50,000 as the goodwill payment and an additional $250,000 in operational expense for calendar year 2026.
And that would be our 70%, basically.
I'm pretty confident in that. Yeah.
And
Are you anticipating a rollover? And where that rollover goes?
On the district side. So we anticipate enough rollover to operate in the first quarter of calendar year 2027.
Okay.
We have to have that money.
Yeah.
I insist on it. Particularly because we pay volunteers at the end of the year. So there will be beginning cash, yes. And that's reflected in the ending cash line items.
Sorry.
no,
Go ahead.
no, I was just it looked like I was looking at this, we were saying 250, I think it is 233. Like, is that what you were, fire suppression? It's fine.
Yes,
That's what we're talking about, right? City of Stevenson is line 800. Yeah, that's your total fire suppression.
so if you look at page 1, and if you go to fire protection city of Stevenson, yes, 250.
Yeah, okay.
Now that obviously didn't account for when we adopted the budget, we did not account for the $50,000 goodwill payment.
Right, right.
We will address that
Yeah.
we will address that in a supplemental
Okay.
budget in March, I believe they have it scheduled for.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
The only other question I've got on it is, it says in where did it go? On the vehicles, And the replacement schedule here,
Yep,
Or business to go, that's a little higher.
that's higher up,
Yeah.
isn't it?
8.5.
Down close.
Yep, 8.5.
We're locked into life cycles of those particular.
No, that's the NFPA recommendation on all of
So
those. Yeah,
I would only ask that because it says that we'll replace the apparatus and vehicles as follows.
yeah.
So I'm wondering if that maybe should be suggested to replace as opposed to a mandate to replace. Because like, for example, command vehicle has got, I don't know how many thousand miles on it.
4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yet you're replacing it in 10 years. That does not seem fiscally responsible to me. And so I would question that replacement verbiage. And if we could agree to say that is the suggested, then I don't have a problem with that.
District's administrative policy that they adopted does address, it's called, capitalization of assets, and has a similar timeline in it, and does say that the district can adjust it based on ability, because like, yes, who doesn't want to have a new truck every other year? But, or a new Jeep. But in reality, small rural agencies, and small cities and small counties even struggle, trying to replace it on recognized industry standards, like you just might not be able to do it. And so we have some flexibility written into the district's administrative policy that the commissioners adopted in October or November.
Okay.
So maybe we'll take a look at that and that 8.5, if we can maybe just adjust the verbiage on it to match, kind of look like that would be, makes sense.
That's all I have. I mean, thank you. And you guys have been wonderful working with them. And Chief, I appreciate all of the input, and hard work that you've been doing on this thing too. So thank you.
Yep, it's a lot of paperwork. But no, 8.5 brings up a good part too, is hopefully in the near future, the whole point of these new apparatuses is we can go to every 20 years, going to the, they don't call it refurbishing, they have a more fancy word for it. Where they just rebuild the pump and everything, that hopefully that, the odds are they will change the requirement, but hopefully they can just rebuild them, re-outfit them, and it'll save, instead of spending $750,000, you're spending 200 or 300,000. So yeah, hopefully that's
Would
where
it-
we're headed.
Would it be
Do you have a
appropriate?
question, Pat?
Oh, yeah, I'm just gonna say, I didn't mean to, am I cutting you off? I don't want to cut you off.
No.
Were you done?
No, you're good.
Okay, would it be appropriate at this time? I mean, I'd be willing to make a motion to accept agreement, on the city side, to approve this agreement, subject to, Dave's, suggestion on the verbiage there. If people weren't, if both sides were in agreement on that, since, I'd be willing to make the motion that we approve that agreement tonight.
I'll second it.
One step at a time. So go ahead and make your motion for the city council side of it.
I thought you did.
Yeah,
He was,
It was asking
I
if
just-
it was ready.
Oh,
Yeah.
he
needs to do it.
go for it, Pat. Make your motion.
okay, I'll make a motion that we, subject to Dave's, verbiage on the, you can clean this up, on changing the wording.
8.5.
Yeah, to the word suggested, or however you want to do it, that, then the council, Stevenson City Council will approve this agreement, this 3-year agreement.
I'll second it.
Look what happened
Put
there.
it in there.
I don't get to do it for much longer, Dave.
All right. There's a first and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 There we go.
So commissioners, you also have the opportunity tonight to approve it as well. If you chose to, Tom.
I would make a motion that we would do the same. The only comment I'd like to make is that with a fire engine, any apparatus, a police car, they go and they go and they go. With the fire apparatus, it sits there in the station, then goes out on a call, 4 miles maybe, sits there for 4 hours pumping. And so it's more engine hours that it goes by.
Yeah.
So it's a different way of evaluating it. But yeah, I would. think we
We're not, I don't want you guys to think that
No.
I'm thinking you shouldn't have.
No.
News or updated or
No.
whatever. I just want to make sure there's flexibility.
Believe me,
You
the
and
day
us.
that tender 27 goes down there that they rebuilt,
Uh-huh.
there's gonna be some tears in the eyes because that thing is 500 something thousand miles. Warehouse or donated, but that tender, there's not many 16,
Yeah.
16 gears.
The museum.
The pump and
Yeah.
roll on it, that thing can get a lot of work done on a scene, so, yeah, no.
Well, no, I just want you guys to know, like, I brought
Yeah.
that up, and I don't want. you
No.
to think that I'm trying to hold up any,
No,
you know.
And I'll
your
add,
That's a
expertise are
simple
there.
fix,
I'm
dude.
not
That's
all-
that's just
based on
adding-
that.
it'll take Robert 30 seconds or Aaron 30 seconds to fix that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Got my last name, I appreciate
All right.
that.
Okay.
All right,
Tom, what were you doing?
Heard all.
no, I was gonna say, if you
that your
wish to
motion?
learn how to drive it, we
Motion
would
turned
welcome
into
you to
comment.
You know,
over to our
I
side.
would be down there in a second if I was,
Yeah.
if I was able, I'm not able, so.
Me neither.
So no,
all right.
don't play that game.
What were you doing, Tom?
So we're gonna make a motion to approve the interlocal agreement
Subject
with the city.
Yeah, subject to the changes to
8.5.
8.5.
To 8.5.
Yeah.
Reference to 8.5. So,
First and a second. Grayson.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Wow.
All right.
Unbelievable.
We did it.
Yeah.
Well, it's weird, it's cool to see movement on this, because I know when we.
Oh,
yeah.
We started meeting, we started getting this going up, this is gonna be a lot farther up, and this is great, so thank you.
We're in the,
And.
the run phase now. I'll ask.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work, so.
Well, I'll email this to Aaron tonight, just we'll ask him to make that adjustment and then send it to Robert and then send it to everybody.
Good.
But anybody have any other questions?
Got one more item on your
Oh.
business.
Joanna has a question on Zoom. She first wants some clarification on name.
Exactly. I was just hoping to get some clarification on the fire district commissioners' names.
You guys are tag
Yep.
backwards.
Mine not. Tom, what did you
I have a
do?
Tom.
Tom Grace, I have their own tags, is all.
They're backwards.
Yeah.
Tom was the one that made the motion.
Tom who?
Delzio, Delzio.
Thank you.
You're
And who
welcome.
made this second?
Grayson Rudd, RUDD.
Thank you. That's all I needed. Thank you.
Joanna, you are wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you. I think so.
Yes, under on the nameplate there.
Box.
Right.
All right, so proposed dates for meetings.
I have a couple dates there. The one in May that's on there, what I will say is there's a goal for us to go to fire school in Wenatchee this year, and it's always right at that time. So the one in May could be moved, but those are the dates that Ann's team came up with it for two meeting dates next year. If you guys want to send it out to everybody and ask them what works better, vacations or.
It would seem to me, Chief, that the dates are more important to the fire service
Mhm.
than they are to, especially as you start entering wildfire season.
Yep,
And you need to have that wildland training and all those other things that are going on. I would think that you guys come up with the dates
okay,
and then let us know what works for you, and we can pick from those dates, rather
Okay.
than us trying to.
With that in mind, I think November is usually a good time of year for us. But, we'll ask our meetings in a couple weeks for their meetings and, yeah, we'll make sure that it works with.
Yes.
I'm killing you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, all right, so
So
our goal is to come up with a couple dates with the commissioners and then send them over to council.
Great.
Or how about we get the first one dialed in and then we can figure out the second one at the end of the summer. All right, I think that's all we have, Mayor.
Anybody else? I think that's the meat of it. All right, meeting adjourned, 6:18.
Thank you all.
Thank you, guys.
Councilmember Minutes, welcome to your first meeting.
Yep.
Aaron.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.